welcome to the Knitting by the Sea podcast. My name is Lisa. I'm Saratoga Knitting on Instagram and on Ravelry, and I welcome you to my home. I'm in a new home now, still in Marblehead, Massachusetts, but we did move over the last 2 weeks. Something else is different. I have new glasses, thank goodness. I've had the glasses that I had for years and years and years, and they were just getting old, and my prescription changed, so it was time for some new glasses. So this is what I got, and I hope you like them. Today we'll do a few things. We will do finished objects, some works in progress. I'll also talk about a project that's upcoming for me, and we'll talk about the giveaway that I have going on Ravelry right now. We'll talk a little bit about an upcoming knit along, and we'll do some chatter at the end. So let's get started. Finished objects. I have 2 this week. It's crazy, 2. I know, crazy. The first one, if you've watched me on Instagram over the last few weeks, you've seen that I've been knitting furiously on this first one. This is called the Sorrento Shawl, and it is by Marcia Ibuki, who is Very Little on Instagram, and she has the Twitch and Stitch podcast as well. She contacted me probably back in March and asked if I'd be interested in doing a test knit for her, and I said of course I would. And I had some, it was going to be a very large shawl, and it needed 3 different colors. So I had a beautiful skein of yarn that had been gifted to me from Saratoga, and it was a specially dyed yarn from the Saratoga colors on it, and it was gorgeous and beautiful and lovely and soft, and I was waiting for the right project to come along for it. And this was it. This is what I decided. And so then I went down to my local yarn shop, Marblehead Knits, and I chose a couple of other yarns to complement it. And it's a fingering weight yarn. As I said, it is huge, but it's absolutely glorious. And it was a joy to knit. It was really fun to do a test knit. I haven't done one in quite some time, and it was really fun. Marcia had set up a special group on Instagram, so all of her test knitters were able to interact. If we had questions, we could kind of go back and forth and work out some differences and figure out what version we were knitting from. Because of course, you know, well, maybe you don't, but if you are putting together a pattern, sometimes you go through many versions. You'll start out with one, and then of course, as we all know, if you've got on your computer, you have a document and you make changes to it. I mean, how many times does this happen at work? And then you pull up the wrong document, and so there's all kinds of crazy things that happen when you're doing this, which is why designers have test knitters, because we kind of work through that process and make sure that there aren't any issues with knitting or any things that maybe a new knitter might not understand. And just make sure that the pattern, everything works out great. And this is a gorgeous pattern. Gorgeous. So here it is. I'm going to show it. And like I said, it is huge. I blocked this on my mother-in-law's laundry line in the back. I put pictures of that on Instagram too as well. It's an awesome way to block. I'm telling you, if you have it available, it is awesome. Because really, gravity does all the work. You don't need to pin it out. You don't need to do anything. And this even has a picot bind off, and they came out great. So anyway, without further ado, let me just make sure I'm working on the right side. Yes, so this is the right side. It's huge. It starts out here at the beginning in the striped pattern. It moves on to a lace pattern, and then a textured pattern. So there's a garter stitch here, and then we have some short rows, back and forth, some short rows. And then another garter stitch pattern, and again a lace pattern on the bottom, and then a picot bind off. And it is it's larger than my wingspan. It's huge. It's really huge, but it's just a great shawl to kind of just wrap around. If you're sitting outside on a kind of a cool summer night, which is not a cool day here at all. I do have a fan in the window because it's a little bit warm. But this is just gorgeous. I love the pattern. I was surprised. It didn't take me that long to knit. But it's gorgeous. And this is the lovely yarn that I was gifted. So the multicolored red, white. It's actually very patriotic, so it fits right in with this weekend because it is 4th of July weekend here in the United States. And then I chose this beautiful blue color and then the light blue color as well. The Picot bind off is supposed to be the same color as the last section, but I didn't have enough yarn left. So I just decided to go with, I had more of this special yarn left, so I went with that. And I think that actually works out really well. It's a nice contrast on the bottom. This, again, this is beautiful. It's called the Sorrento Shawl, once again, and it is by Very Little. And it is for sale now on Ravelry. Go take a look at the pattern. It's something that, the sections make it interesting because you're not doing the same thing over and over, but it goes fast because there are a lot of enough sections that are just garter stitch or stockinette, and the lace pattern is not difficult. Either of the lace patterns are not difficult. I would say that this would be a great pattern for someone who hasn't really done lace before, or maybe has done some beginning lace and is interested in doing some a little more difficult. Although this isn't really difficult, it's just that there's lots of rows of it, which is actually a nice thing because you get a lot of experience in what you're doing. I love it. I just think it's beautiful. And thank you, Marcia, for letting me test knit. And now I have this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous shawl with my very special yarn. I'm very, very happy with this. So thank you. The second one is also a test knit. I've been doing a couple of test knits these last few weeks and not knitting so much on my regular projects. My second test knit is called the Yexa Shawl, and this is by Janine McCarty, and she is Yarn and You on Instagram, and she has the an online yarn shop as well, and she does the Yarn and You podcast. And she also contacted me and asked if I wanted to test knit for her. I actually test knit a hat for her, a scrappy hat, probably like 3 years ago now, and she recently put out the Hepzibah shawl, and I purchased the pattern for that, and I actually bought yarn for that, and that is a worsted weight shawl. I just haven't cast that on. It's probably, it's a worsted weight shawl, so I'll probably wait till it gets a little cooler, then work on that right now, but I'm really looking forward to that pattern as well. And this is her new shawl pattern, and I think she said in her last podcast, she said that it was based on a character in the Outlander series with Claire and Jamie, so that's really kind of cool. And she gifted me the yarn to make the pattern, which was absolutely wonderful. It was so nice because she dyes her own yarn as well. So this, again, it's a shawl. It has texture. It has a little bit of lace, not very difficult lace at all, but very, very, very simple. Lots of texture, lots of garter stitch, and it is a DK weight yarn. You could do this in any way you wanted to. It doesn't have to be in DK, but this particular yarn that she sent me was in DK, and I loved it. I think this is I forget the name. I don't have the tags with me, but I think this is some type of a cinnamon color, and I think this was like cherry ice cream sundae, maybe something like that. But it's very cherry, very pink. But it has really, I don't know if I can find a spot in here, but it has these really fantastic little pops of purple in with the pink, and I really like that. It's really beautiful. So here it is. So this is the Yexa shawl. So you can see it has some really simple lace, just with some yarn overs. So it's just creates an accent with some holes in there. It's just really pretty. And then we have this really pretty texture section with a stitch, and then garter stitch back to the lace, and then striping, and then back to the lace, and then the edging. This bind off pattern, you can see it very well here, but I like this bind off a lot for DK and for worsted weight shawls. I just think it's just such a neat edging. It's easy to do. Really, it took me maybe took me half an hour last night to bind this off, but I think it's really very, very neat. It just pulls everything together, and it just kind of makes the bottom nice and strong, and I really like that a lot. So it's an I-cord bind up, as you can see, it's very pretty. So I'm very, very happy with both of my finished objects. I'm so excited to have 2 new shawls. This one I'm going to take to my in-laws. We're going over for lobster dinner tonight, so I'm going to take this one because it has not been blocked. All the ends are woven in, but this will grow. It has not been blocked yet, so I'm going to put it on the line tonight. So you'll see pictures of that on Instagram as well. But I'm very, very pleased. And again, thank you so much, Janine, for asking me to test knit this for you. I'm very, very happy. Very, very happy with it. All right, let's move on to works in progress. Progress. We had to drive to Saratoga maybe 2 weekends ago now to pick up. We still have a lot of, or we had a lot of our furniture and things in storage there. So we drove out and spent overnight. Got to see my parents. Had some fun there, and we brought back a lot of our things. But at the same time, my husband drove most of the way there, so I was able to do some knitting. So I did some knitting on my Bruntsfield vest. It's funny, I posted this up on Instagram, and someone had commented like, wow, doing Fair Isle knitting in the car. And I actually, I do a lot of it in the car. I actually find it pretty relaxing. I'm not distracted at all, and I can look at it. I'm either just listening to music or talking to my husband, and it seems to go by pretty quickly. And I'm not, maybe it's just because I'm not distracted by watching something on the television screen. So I actually find it pretty easy to do. So I'm getting there. I think, where's my, oh, I don't have the pattern with me. I think it's in the closet. But I'm getting there. I am getting there. So it's getting longer. Amazing, amazing. So I'm up into the, let me see, what do I have? 1, 2, 3. So I'm into the 4th time of this particular pattern. I think I'm getting close to the point where I'm going to start splitting off for the sleeves. This is a pattern by Isolde Teague, and it obviously it's Fair Isle, and it is Fair Isle in the round. It's all the way around. So you're using 2 colors on every single row, not the same colors. They mix and match. They move into each other. So this is going to be a vest, and so I have to do steeking for the V neck, and I'll also do steeking for the armholes. So I'm getting closer to that point. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting closer. This is my Rhinebeck project. Rhinebeck. Oh, I realized the other day, I'm like, all right, it's summer. It's officially summer now, so I really need to concentrate on this. So you guys really need to keep me on this. Although I do love it. As I said, I pulled it out to go on that trip. And now that I'm finished with the 2 test knits, I'll be concentrating a lot on this project now. And it's not heavy at all because it's made out of pallet, Knit Picks pallet, fingering weight yarn. So it's not a heavy knit at all. But I obviously need to get it done. We actually this week for Rhinebeck, we're going to have, I think we're trying to actually rent a house this time because Sophia will be back by then, so she'll be coming, and my sister-in-law, of course, Tracy, and perhaps her daughter Kate, and Sophia and myself, and then we will have another friend of Sophia's, Emma, and her mom, and probably Sarah, and is going to come along too. So we have quite a few people that we're going to be looking at houses. So the girls were actually looking at some house rentals this week. So it just kind of hit me that it's getting there. It is getting there. It's one of those things I can't wait, but I need to get this done. So I'm going to be starting to really concentrate on this. I really want to get to the steeking part. I mean, I always like go, I don't know, but I'm really looking forward to learning a new skill because I've never done it before. So it's time in my knitting journey to do some steeking. So I'm actually looking forward to that. So you'll see more and more pictures of this out on Instagram. So that's that one. The second project that I need to work on as well is my granito sweater, and that's by Hohi Locatelli, a pattern by Hohi Locatelli, and I really like this a lot. This is really beautiful. Again, Knit Picks palette, my favorite go-to yarn, but it is a deep forest green. Yes, this is the front sweater. You can see I'm getting down there. It looks like it's falling apart here, but that's because there are pockets, and here's the front of the pocket. The pockets will be attached together here in the back, and they won't fall down like that. But It has this, it's just basically knitting in the round. It has some really interesting construction to start the piece up in the shoulder area, but then, as I had mentioned before, it has a really interesting detail here on the, it's a slip stitch detail, which is really interesting, and it keeps your attention enough, because otherwise, you know, you'd probably just fall asleep doing this, but because you have this little detail, you do have to pay attention to what you're doing each row. But it's really pretty, and I'm getting almost to the bottom of it now. I already, you know, I probably have maybe 2 more inches before I do the bottom ribbing, and then I will have to add on the sleeves. But that'll go pretty quickly. This will be a perfect sweater for the late summer, early fall. So I really like this. It's just I really highly recommend this pattern. It's really very, very nice. And so those are my 2 projects. I do have my couture project shawl by Meg Gatsby that I'm working out of a beautiful lace weight yarn. I kind of put that away for a little bit. I'll pull that out as kind of in a regular rotation once I finish, maybe finish my granito shawl. I do have a project that's upcoming though. I'm really looking forward to this. This is kind of going to be. I still haven't finished the socks that I've been working on, but they'll come back now. I'm almost finished with those. I'm almost done with that one. So I'll probably finish those up maybe this coming week during my bust knitting. But I have another project that I'm going to be using for my bust knitting, and I'm really excited about it. It's actually called the Knit Night Shawl, and it's a one skein shawl, and I keep seeing it because Melinda, the Yarnder Woman podcast, she's knit, I don't know how many of these she's knit, but she's knit quite a few of them, and I really like it. And every time I see her do one, like, I need to pull that pattern up and take a look at it. But it's called Knit Night. It's by Louise Zaspangam, and it just takes one skein of lovely variegated yarn. And I was lucky enough to be able to purchase from Meadow of the Woven Road podcast. Meadow actually lives in Iceland, and she is I think she actually is an archaeologist. I think so, but her interest is in the archaeology of fiber and clothing, woven items, things like that. So she's just a really interesting person. She has the Woven Road podcast, which is an audio podcast, which I really enjoy as well. And she is now dyeing up some gorgeous yarn. She has her own website, wovenroad.com, I think, but I'll put it up here. Beautiful yarns. And I was lucky enough to get one skein, and I have my eye on a different colorway that I missed out on. I'll be looking forward to doing that. But here's the yarn. I mean, it's just so reminiscent of, you know, moss on rock, and it's just, you know, it's got these reds in here, like lichen color. It's just beautiful. I'm really looking forward to doing this. And it is it's called Laetoli, and it is it is superwash merino and silk. So it is incredibly soft. It's going to have beautiful drape. It's 2-ply fingering, of course. There's 400 yards of that. This is her card. She her color sense is just phenomenal. The colors, all I can say is that they almost glow. They're just so beautiful. I'm looking forward to knitting this up, seeing how it turns out, because I am definitely going to go back for more as a special treat to myself in the future. So look forward to that. You'll see pictures of this on Instagram as well. This week over the last couple of weeks, in the mail, I have received 2 magazines. The first is Rib magazine, the new version of this is the second edition of Rib magazine, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I love all the patterns in it. You know, this magazine is meant to be patterns designed specifically for men to knit, or for women to knit for men, whoever. But they're designed with men in mind. So they have a really very simple, simple colors, simple design aesthetic. There's some beautiful Aran sweaters in here. There is a, let's see if I can quickly find it. I made the Metro cowl from the first edition of this magazine the last time it came out. I think it comes out quarterly. And there, where was it? Oh, I think, see, this is called an orienteering hat, and this is something that I would definitely make. And I'm not sure if my husband is ready to commit to me making him a sweater yet. He's more of a kind of a sweatshirt guy, and I don't know if he'd actually wear a hand-knit sweater. He'd be very appreciative of it, but I'm not sure he would actually really wear it for all the work that it would be. But he likes hats, so I would definitely make him this kind of a thing. So I really like it. It has some really great articles in it. It has talks about mending a Gansey this time around. Very, very interesting. It has some sock patterns and just really nice sweater patterns. Just perfect for a guy. So I really recommend Rib magazine. The second magazine that I received, and I have actually bought a subscription to Rib, and I bought a subscription to Amarisu too. I had it last year, and I just renewed my subscription. But this Amarisu is a Japanese magazine. It is online, and it is in hard copy now as well. Both of these magazines, if you purchase the magazine, it gives you a code on the inside of the magazine so that you can download. You can have, if you put the code in, all of the patterns will download into your library on Ravelry. So that's a really great perk with these. But again, Amarisu has I always love the aesthetic of this, and they just have some beautiful, simple sweaters here. The photography is wonderful. This is a really interesting shawl. It's made with 2 different weights of yarn. So I think this is the striped color is maybe a fingering weight, and there's this beautiful lace pattern here on the bottom, which is actually made from lace weight yarn. So it's really just an interesting. I would never really think about putting those 2 weights of yarn together in that fashion. Very, very, just really simple. This is just a simple wrap that they have. And again, the photography, a lot of these I get for the photography. I just sit and I just look at them. It's just beautiful. It has some great articles in it as well. So this is out now. This is the In Search of Natural Colors is the theme of this one. So Amarisu magazine. This is the little store that Sophia went to when she was going to school at Kansai Gaidai. She found this, and they have a little store front in Kyoto. And Sophia and her friend Shanae went on a trek one day in Kyoto and actually found the little storefront. So that was really fun. So it really has kind of special meaning for that reason as well. But I really recommend this. All right, let us move on to the giveaway. We are currently having a giveaway in the Knitting by the Sea podcast Ravelry group. I'm going to leave that open for the month of July. If you remember, I talked last time about kind of heirloom things that were important, maybe that were going to be passed on in your family that you may kind of be the caretaker of at the moment. And one of the things I showed last week was my grandmother was a knitter, and so I showed her knitting bag that I always keep with me. I actually have straight needles in here. A lot of I haven't used straight needles in a long time, but you never know. Sometimes you might need them for something. But this is where I keep my straight needles. And I think, as I said before, when I open it up, this is just an old bag it's probably from the 30s or 40s. And it actually, the smell actually reminds me of my grandmother's house. So that's really kind of fun. Another thing that I wanted to show you this week was a toy. Was a toy. It's not a toy anymore. And this isn't this great? Look at this. This is a little doggy. And this belonged to my dad. This was his most beloved toy when he was a youngster. So this would have been, he would have played with this, in the 30s. to early 30s, late 30s. So this has been well loved. It is really, it is just, it's probably has, I'm thinking it has like straw or paper on the inside of it. I'm not sure what it's stuffed with. It's just not very soft anymore. It's really just been well loved, and it has no eyes anymore, but you can still see its little face. So this was very well loved by my dad, and he gave this to me. They found this years ago. I think maybe it's probably after my grandmother died. She must have had it, and he said I could have it if I wanted it, and I just keep it around with me. So this is just one of those other special items that I have, and I'm sure that you have some special items. So that's the whole point of this particular giveaway. The lovely Leslie Wind of Leslie Wind Designs on Etsy. She is a shawl pin maker, jewelry maker, and she lives in Rockport, Massachusetts, which is not very far from me at all. And Leslie contacted me, and she has offered to provide a prize of some type of a shawl pin to the members of the podcast group who enter the giveaway. And the prompt on the giveaway is just to tell me something that is special to you, that you have kept, or something that maybe is knitting related or not knitting related, something that someone made for you, perhaps your grandparent, or just an item that you have that you kind of feel like you're the caretaker of, and you just have it and enjoy it, and it just means something to you. And then probably on the next episode of the podcast, I'm going to draw a winner for that, and Leslie will get you out a gorgeous a shawl pin. You can take a look at her items on Etsy. She has beautiful things. We're going to get together. I'm off in a couple of weeks for a vacation, so I'm going to see if I can swing up and spend some time with her one afternoon and see her, get to see her workshop. But so please feel free to go on over and enter that for a chance to win a beautiful one-of-a-kind shawl pin from Leslie. All right, so let's move on to next, we're going to talk about an upcoming knit-along that we're going to have in the Knitting by the Sea podcast group. As you know, I am a moderator on the Loops Harry Potter knit-along, which, just to be aware that Lydia has put up some pre-orders for Harry Potter yarn for the knit-along. The knit-along is a 3-month knit-along. It is October, November, December, and the only thing that you need to do in order to be sorted into a house and to participate in the knit-along and be eligible for prizes is to purchase one skein of yarn from her. Now, once you take a look at that yarn, you're going to be purchasing more than one, but it's a great way to get started. Loops yarn is one of my favorite. I've been with them right from the very beginning. This is year 5 of the Harry Potter knit-along. I cannot believe it. And we're already getting ready. The moderators are. We're making preparations for things that are going to go on during the project. I am I'm not sure what I'll be called this year, professor, prefect of Hufflepuff House. So Hufflepuff is my thing, and so we each have houses, and we have house threads, and there are we're going to be bringing back points this year. We didn't do it last year, but we're going to be we make some changes to it, but we're going to be bringing back house points this year, so will be a little bit of a competition among the houses for getting points for knitting projects. There'll be some non-knitting related challenges as well, as there have been in prior years, and I'm really looking forward to it this year. I'm just really looking forward to it. So that's out there right now. oloops.com. Take a look at the yarn that Lydia has up there. It's all Harry Potter themed, and if you want to join in the knit along, it's great. As I said, I've been doing it this will be the 5th year. So it really takes a lot to keep going for such a long time with something. But I've just met some fantastic people. I've actually met a few of them in person, which has really been fun. But it's just a loving, comfortable, friendly environment for a great knit along. So come on along and join us. But prior to that, Sophia is coming home. She will be done with her Japanese work at the end of July, so she actually will be coming home. So I thought it would be fun to do. She has not been doing a lot of knitting while she's been in Japan. She's been doing a lot of drawing, which is great. Any type of crafting is good. I think it's good for the mind, good for the soul. But so she's been doing a lot of drawing, but she wants to get back to knitting. Of course, she's going to be living here. She's going to be, with her mother who's knitting all the time, and so she's going to want to get back into the knitting. I just actually pulled out a bunch of her knitting bags when I was unpacking yesterday. So she has yarn here. She has knitting bags here. She has some projects to get going on. So I thought what would be fun to do for August and September, before the Harry Potter knit-along starts in October, is to do a really comfortable, relaxed knit-along in our group. So come join us if you'd like. I'll probably put the thread up for this podcast, and we can just kind of put some ideas in there. It won't start until the 1st of August, but I think what I'm going to name it is Let's Knit Along with Sophia. And basically what we want to do is to have a knit-along to kind of get her back bring her back over to the dark side, get her back into the knitting fold. So really, anything. I don't have any particular things that you need to knit for this. Just to knit a project, something maybe that you've been thinking about doing, and just haven't. It could be a gift. Could be anything, large or small. And you can also make some suggestions. So what do you think that Sophia should think about knitting? Do you think she should maybe knit a hat? Do you think she should maybe knit some socks? Do you think she should just dive right in and do a sweater for a Rhinebeck maybe? Do you think she should design her own? Remember, she did do a design for one hat. I actually found that the other day, the Pathway Home. It's a really cute little pattern, and I found her original of it, and I was like, I really like that. I've made them before, but I'm like, that's another one I'm going to be making again. But anyway, so this will be the Knit Along with Sophia knit along, and I'll put that up, so you can look forward to that coming up in August. So now let's move on to some chatter. Well, obviously some things have changed here at the Knitting by the Sea podcast. We have a new home. We moved out of the apartment that we were in, which was wonderful, but Sophia, as I said, Sophia's coming home, and she is going to be living with us. So the apartment we were in was a 1-bedroom, so we needed something that had 2 bedrooms. And it just, sometimes, the universe does good things for you. And we were kind of looking around. We really wanted to stay in Marblehead. We were thinking about buying something, but we're not quite ready. I think Sophia and my husband and myself are probably thinking about actually purchasing a condo together, but we thought it might be a good idea to kind of practice living together again, because we haven't lived together really as a family since just the 3 of us since her junior year in high school, really, because her senior year we had Misaki, our Japanese exchange student, was there all year. So, and then she went to college, and she went to Japan. So it's been a while since we've moved in. So this will be a different experience because she's obviously an adult. She'll be paying rent, paying for the utilities, just as if we were in a regular rental situation or paying a mortgage together. So it will be interesting. I think it will work out very well. I think it won't be really hard for me, but I think it'll be a little bit interesting with her dad, because he has to look at her as an equal as opposed to being his little girl. So it'll be an interesting learning experience for us, but I think it'll work out great. Anyway, so we were able to find this really fabulous house for rent, and it is. I've shown pictures on it on Instagram, and I'll have more at the end here, but it's this beautiful little red house, and it was actually built in 1750, and it was a warehouse that was built by Jacob Fowle, who was a merchant here in Marblehead. I don't know what they used the warehouse for. It was fairly small. Could have been fish, could have been cod. I don't know what that was for, but then it was converted to a home for a Peter Waite in 1801, and I think he was a boat builder. So there are fireplaces in every room. They're not working anymore, but just to have them. There's this beautiful detailing in every room. So this really is a house. The house, I had some issues this morning because all the floors tilt down a little bit. The house has settled. It's not going anywhere, but it's, over 300 years it's settled to kind of on one side a tiny bit. So it's a little bit off kilter. So everything has, we have to put pieces of shims and things underneath, but it's great. So it's really interesting. And the third floor, which would have originally, would have been like an attic piece, but Sophia's going to have the whole third floor. Not that sounds huge. It's not. This is not a big house. So, but her whole piece is open. The upstairs, it's open to the roof, and the roof, it has plaster on it, but you can see the beams coming down on the side. So it's a flat roof with the sides coming down, and she just has a lot of room up there. Plus, there's a full bathroom upstairs, so she has her own bathroom. We have our bathroom on this floor, which is a bonus as well. Actually, in our bedroom, this has the best light, so I thought this was going to be the best place to podcast. I have 4 windows in here, which is really great. And the house, this side here is facing east, so it faces the ocean. So it's just beautiful, beautiful light in the morning. This is a funny little house. It's owned, the people that own it live right around the corner, which again is wonderful. I think they were happy to have like a nice couple and family come to live here. And it's funny because I'm not quite sure how they got around this. And it could be, the Boston Yacht Club, there are 3 big yacht clubs in Marblehead, and the Boston Yacht Club is literally right here. This house is right on the edge of their parking lot, which is fine because we have little tiny ocean views we can see, and there's a lot of activity here, which is fine. And but this house is simply the house on the land that it sits on. The front of the house is right up to the street, and that's, of course, owned by the town. The side of the house, there's a street, and that's owned by the town. And everything, the other 2 sides of the house are owned by the Boston Yacht Club, but they have, it's a little bit landscaped, so there's a little bit of just enough of a little terrace on the back. So we have our grill, and we have a little table and a couple of seats out there, but that's officially on Boston Yacht Club property. It's the funniest thing. I've never been in a house where literally the house is the house and that there's no yard, nothing around it. We can use it, but it doesn't matter to us because we don't own the piece of property. But it's kind of an interesting thing. But it's the cutest little house, and we tell people where we're living. They're like, "Oh, I've always wanted to see what that house is like. I've always wondered." So it's really a lot of fun. But it's taken us time because I'll show some pictures of it later too. That the staircase is very, very narrow and steep, and you have to go up and get around to get into our bedroom here. So there was no way our box spring was going to work, so we ended up getting rid of our box spring. I had to buy a new box spring from Amazon that folded in order to get one in here. We were able to get the actual mattress in here, but boy, it's tough. So it's taken us time because it just takes time. You're like exhausted after you take one piece of furniture up these little stairs. So it's kind of taken us some time to get organized, and we're still not organized. The other half of the room that you don't see still has pictures that need to go up on the wall. But it's getting there. It's definitely getting there, and Sophia will be able to deal with hers when she gets home. But it's kind of neat because they have all this upstairs in the attic. In her room, they have all these little cabinets all along the wall, and they just open up to the exterior of the kind of the roof. So there's like all this little storage area all around up there, which is really kind of interesting and kind of nice. And like I said, there's all kinds of detail. As you can see, a little bit of there's a detail of there's a lock and a key on each of the doors. Really interesting. I was actually thinking the other day that this is really, if you are an Outlander fan, this is certainly a house that Jamie and Claire would live in if they were living in Marblehead at that time. And this is the time, the 1700s. That's kind of their time. in the United States, and this is definitely the type of house that they would have been living in. So it's really kind of cool, kind of interesting. So we're looking forward to that. As I said, Sophia will be home at the end of the month, so that will be interesting, having her come back home. But I'm really excited about being in this new place. It just feels, it's nice to be in a house as opposed to in an apartment with other people. It just feels really comfortable. It really feels nice. We're in a beautiful, beautiful spot. We're literally, the ocean is a stone's throw away. The harbor is a stone's throw away from here. We also have Crocker Park right across, literally across the street again from us. So you can just walk up the hill, and it's just lovely. There are benches. You can sit out and look at the harbor. You know, on my vacations, I'm going to be up there every morning, drinking my coffee and doing my knitting. It's just beautiful, and this is like the perfect time of the year to move in. You know, this is such an old house that, you know, we'll get storms this winter. So when we get the storms this winter, they'll be really fun to be able to watch and feel very, very safe, because this house has been here for 300 years. It's not going anywhere. So I'm really looking forward to spending at least the year here. So this is going to be really very, very nice. Now, this weekend in the United States is 4th of July. And 4th of July in Marblehead is the biggest weekend of the entire year. Biggest weekend. You know, they have the Christmas walk, but 4th of July, big deal. And the 4th really starts, the 4th is actually Tuesday. So yesterday was the 1st, so Saturday, today's Sunday, the 2nd. So really they have stuff going Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And luckily I have Monday off from work too. So that's really a nice little perk as well. So we have 4 full days here to kind of work on getting the house ready, but also to enjoy. So Marblehead has just a crazy fun weekend for the 4th of July. So we, as I said, we're right across the street from Crocker Park. So every night, actually kind of in the afternoon to the evening, they have different bands here. So different types of music going on, and you can really just sit outside and hear the whole thing right from here. There's an art festival. There is with photography and paintings, and there's just a kind of like a little parade downtown. So this afternoon, that's what we're going to do. My husband and I, we're going to walk down, and we are going to go take a look at that. So I'll try to do some video of that for you guys. And then tonight we are going to my in-laws because they're having lobster. So we're going to be having a lobster dinner at my in-laws, which is really fun. And tomorrow they're coming here. We're going to have a little bit of a barbecue out in the back. I think we're going to make ribs tomorrow, maybe. Just the classic American 4th of July food. And then on actually the 4th of July, I think we probably will just be on our own. The traffic here is crazy. Marblehead has we have a harbor, and they do what's called harbor illumination. So right before, we have fireworks around 9 o'clock. So right before 9 o'clock, they have flares placed all around the harbor, and all the homeowners that are right on the harbor have to go down and get special permits from the town hall, and they get a couple of flares, and they have to put the flares in. And basically what happens is that right before the fireworks go off, the flares are lit, and so it starts at one end of the harbor, and it goes all the way around the harbor out to the lighthouse. So it's all dark except for the harbor illumination, which is really a cool thing to see. And then we have the fireworks, and we are literally, again, the fireworks go off of the causeway that goes out to the neck, and the causeway is right here. So we're going to have a fantastic view of the fireworks that are going to be going off right here. I'm not sure how the cat's going to like that. I'm sure we're going to leave like the laundry room door open so she can just kind of get in there and hide for that duration. But it's a really big fun weekend. So we're just enjoying it, and the weather is glorious. As you can tell, it's just beautiful out today, which is fantastic. Then I go back to work for 3 days. It's a 3-day week next week, and then I have the following week off. Woohoo! It's my first vacation week in a while, so that'll be nice. At the end of that week, we have my niece Katie's getting married, so we'll be going down to Connecticut for a wedding. And then 2 weeks later, Sophia comes home. What what a crazy time this is. But anyway, so I think that's about all I have for you today. I'm going to keep on knitting on my projects, so feel free to contact me on Instagram or on Ravelry and interact with them. And happy 4th of July. And remember, it's just knitting. Bye.